Yes, now everyone, welcome back to another episode of Predictions. We're up to game week 13 now, and last week I picked up my first win in about 3 or 4 weeks. Although it was against Dice, I'll admit it was a bit of a stinker, but it's a win. I pick up 3 points, the Dice pick up 2. I moved to 41. The guests still have the lead, they got 42, but let's go meet today's guest. It's Jaydee, aka Jude. Jude, thanks for joining us on Predictions. How was your night round last weekend for you?
Interesting, man. Interesting, and thanks for having me. It was, yeah. Do you know what? It was good to obviously saw a lot of faces from around the league, both on and off the field, that you probably wouldn't see for a good 6 months otherwise, until they just miraculously come to town. I know that's a bit different with 3 Sydney teams. It's on me for not popping in that their game, but you know what I mean. Like, having everyone in the one spot was class, and everyone I spoke to was loving it on the field. Off the field is obviously where all the problems and the questions arise. And as one thing, I've sort of have compiled a bit of a case study video, which hopefully should be coming a bit. Well, I won't say a date because it might be a tumultuous edit, but yeah, like. The main thing everyone was saying was just that on the pitch was never the problem, and I think that's been the case in the A-League for ages. So a few things off the pitch to tweak, but also I know some people that absolutely loved it and want to do it again in a heartbeat. So yeah, mixed emotions, but it was a good weekend. I'll put it down as a good weekend because it was enjoyable.
First game of the week is Brisbane taking on Macarthur up at Suncorp tonight. Should be a bit wet by the looks of things, and I think that plays into Brisbane's hands more than it does Macarthur. Brisbane obviously picked up their first win in 5 games last week against the Jets. And Macarthur, I think that's like their 3rd or 4th draw in a row. They're not on great form, but at least they're not losing games. And these are two teams that will be fighting to get back into the 6, and I see Brisbane coming out on top. Maybe a couple of goals. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Brisbane. All right, we'll kick off with Brisbane and Macarthur, the Thursday night game. Two teams looking to make their way back into the 6. Who you got in this one?
You know what? Yeah, I think it's a really odd one because both, yeah, as you say, both have just slipped out of the 6, and we said that some few weeks ago, like it didn't seem like it was going to happen. They were sort of both two teams that you'd think were going to be up there for the entire season, but such is the A-League, where anyone can fall up with a couple of bad results, or yeah, you lose 2 points on a game and it could send you packing. So I think that's really what's happened here. But I know we're going to be in for a blockbuster at the same time. That's the best part about a fixture like this, is because you know what they're both fighting for. You know where they've both sort of the luck or lack thereof that they've had in the last few weeks, and I mean, Brisbane, they had to graft for a win the other day, and Macarthur had to graft for a draw, although against bottom of the league Western United. So this is the part where I can't split the two. You remember when we did it with Harry at the start of the season? Yeah. It's like, I see a matchup like this and it's so tasty, but then you think, it's got to. I mean, I suppose there's not got to be a winner, but in a prediction, you've got to think one's going to come out on top. And do you know what? I'm gonna say that Brisbane are going to keep the momentum going from the win against Newcastle. I think that's. I spoke to Zach Anderson and after the game at Allianz the other night, and just to see the look of relief on him and Chad and Kaz's faces, and like, we needed that. Holy shit, we needed that. So I know for sure that the focus in the whole club there this whole week is going to be keep this bloody momentum going. Like, don't just be like, okay, sweet, we're back on, we've got 3 points. Okay, now they'll just naturally start coming in again. So they'll be pushing for it. And I think it will be them that little spur will get them over the line. I think not by much, maybe by a 1-goaler. Watch it be a 5-0 Macarthur. But no, I'll say Brizzy. Yeah, I'll say Brizzy.
Yep. So what are you thinking about? 2-1? Maybe a 1-0? Scrappy 1-0?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, Macarthur will definitely get on the scoreboard. Flip that up already, PK League. It's all about the eventual score. Do I reckon Brisbane can score? I mean, I don't know when the last time Brisbane scored more than 2 at home was. Probably when they played Sydney the first time.
Yeah.
Or they might have been right. Since it was something like that. It's definitely been a while, but because at that point I'd love to say it's an enthralling 3-2, but I'll go with the 2-1 Brisbane then. I'll go with the 2-1. Yeah, I'll still maintain that Macarthur will definitely get on the score sheet though.
Next game is the first of the 2 Friday night games. It's Wellington taking on Melbourne Victory, top of the table clash over in Wellington, and it should be a cracker by all standards. There should be goals. There should be great defending. It should be just a great game in general. Do Melbourne finally lose their first game of the season? It's going to be tough. I know I've backed it a couple of weeks for Melbourne to lose their first game, and I think it comes this week. I think Wellington will be a big trouble for them. I don't think they'll be nearly as prepared as they would have been for the last few games, and I think they will lose this one. I think Wellington will get on the score sheet, a couple of Barbarouses goals, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 Wellington win. All right, and a top of the table clash, Wellington versus Victory. Wellington still technically on top because of those win differential, but this should be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, this should. This is one though where I'm actually feel a little bit confident in myself going in and saying that we're going to get a draw out of it, because I think like Wellington are at home and you know they've been brilliant at home, and they're just starting to pick up something. It's weird because I think a few weeks ago, and I say that very sort of hesitantly, they're starting to build something, because you look a few weeks ago and they were top of the table. I don't think they'd moved for a good couple of weeks, and you know the crowds were still a bit iffy. But I think when the people of Wellington can believe in the Phoenix, it can be a whole different Sky Stadium. And I think hopefully this weekend is one of those where people go, oh shit, this is a proper top of the table battle, and we're in it and we're on top. So when you take that into account against Victory somehow still being unbeaten, that's where again, and look, I could say the same across the board, but we're going to get a tasty fixture. It's just about how I can split it down the middle and separate the two. Like I don't know if there is that, but there's both strengths are going to be at play. You know, Victory have got that. They don't have obviously Fornaroli, but they've been showing that they can score goals without him. And Wellington just will have that Sky Stadium, and they'll have that momentum of being on top. I'm going to say that we go for like a, I know the Victory fans probably won't like it, but another 1-1 draw or something like that. And who knows, it could be a goal fest. But either way, I'm definitely going to say it's going to be a draw.
The second of the two Friday night games is Sydney FC taking on Newcastle Jets. Sydney coming off that 4-3 loss last week to Adelaide United, and Jets coming off that 3-2 defeat to Brisbane Roar. Two teams suffering defeats in Unite round, and Sydney, they didn't play the best in the second half. They probably didn't deserve to win at the game, but Newcastle, they got to feel hard done by not getting 3 points out of that last game. And I think they come to Sydney with a bit of vengeance in sight, and I think it ends up a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this one. Anyway, we'll move on to your team, Sydney FC, taking on Newcastle Jets. Rob Stanton coming up against his former side. Does he look to get a one over his former side in this one?
Oh, he definitely would. He definitely would love to. I think it would be great for him coming back to Allianz and showing sort of what he's become on his own. Do you know what I mean? And the whole project around Newcastle has been so youthful, and you know, you look at all the players like Vidic is just one example that rolls straight off the top of my head of the players that are coming in and making a real impact for Newcastle. However, there is obviously the fact that Sydney have actually been pretty decent for the last few weeks. I mean, yes, the game against Adelaide was I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Adelaide started really poorly as well, but then we just sort of let them have it. But yeah, I feel like with Sydney it has been a bit of a hit and miss in the last. I don't think anyone at the club will mind me saying that truth, but it has been like that for the last sort of year or so. But when you look at it now, I mean, we've just had, at the time of recording here, we've literally just had Joe Lolly announce his contract extension. He's absolutely elated with just like, he said to me in the preseason, like he feels better than he's ever felt before. Like he feels like he's really gonna, like the body's feeling good this year, and he's been starting to show that in the last few weeks, and so have some other players as well. Obviously, there's a few injuries involved, and who knows, maybe that's where Robbie Stanton can sort of pick apart who's missing and who's to pick apart from whoever starts in replacements. However, I do think it will still just be enough for Sydney. I mean, it's another close battle between 9th and 10th. I know that was another talk of the ladder at Christmas time and New Year's time. But yeah, they are quite tight together. It's just about who can pick apart. They both know each other, all the coaches and all the coaching staff. So yeah, who can pick apart who? Yeah, I think Sydney though.
Sydney, you gonna go for a couple of goals for Joe Lolly or?
I'd say he can bag one. I feel like it'll be definitely down to the squad rather than individuals. And I don't know about prediction videos though, because I feel like I can say my insight and then it's just going to be completely different to whatever I say. Joe's going to bag a fucking hat trick and he's going to text me after the game. But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it'll definitely be. I'd love to see a Joe goal, and I think it's definitely doable. Cap off that contract extension with another goal. But yeah, it'll be down to the squad as a whole. This one will be a very tactical contest in my eyes. Obviously, as I go back to saying before, Robbie Stanton, he used to be in that chair next to where Uffy would be sitting. So yeah, it'll be managers picking apart and how the teams can gel together.
Scoreline for this one. I know you're not big on scorelines.
Oh, but... deflected. I accidentally deflected. Yeah, sorry, that was the whole question. I just waffle. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe I'm just kind of trying to stall it. Yeah, I don't know. Do I see Newcastle getting on the scoreboard? I think I do. But yeah, that's again where it comes into, is it going to be a 1-goal margin, a 2-goal margin? I probably wouldn't say any more than 2. Yeah, I'd say like a 4-2 or a 3-1, a 2-goal margin for Sydney, but Newcastle can definitely hopefully find the net.
The standalone Saturday game this week is the Wanderers playing Perth Glory out at CommBank Stadium. Another home game for the Wanderers and another game that's already been played this season at the same venue. It was a 2-0 win last time to the Wanderers. Do I see it happening again? I see the Wanderers winning again. Probably not 2-0. I'm going to go for a 3-0 this time. I think they get an extra goal. Anderson's starting to find a bit of form and Milanovic is on fire. Western Sydney Wanderers taking on Perth Glory at a Saturday night kickoff. Wanderers at home again. Looks like they've had a fair few home games in a row now. And against a Perth team they've already played at home. Do you think it's going to be a similar result to last time?
I honestly probably don't this time. I mean, this is the thing. I feel like I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the Glory, and I love the boys like Kolakowski and Adam Taggart's always been incredible, and I've always had a bit of a heart for the Glory, but I do think Wanderers are just going to outshine them this time round. The Wanderers are really I said the other day with Harry when he put me on the spot and asked who I think would be up there at the end of the season, and I can honestly say that Western Sydney, I personally would love to see them up there, because I think it would just be great for the league. It'd be great for them as a club, and they've definitely been building something for the last couple of years. It would be great to see the fruits of it. So I think that is going to continue, that sort of them making their march towards the top with the Knicks and the victory. And I'll go a Wanderers, maybe a 2-0. I'll say 2-0. Yeah, I feel all right with that.
And the standalone Sunday game this week is the Mariners taking on Melbourne City. Two teams that have found their footing after a rough start to the season. There's only goal difference that separate these two sides on the ladder at the moment. Melbourne City lost last week. Mariners picked up a draw where they really could have easily lost last week. And I think Mariners pick up a win in this one. I think they're looking really strong. They might take a bit more time to find their feet without Tulio, but I think they pick up the win in this one, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 Mariners win. And then final, I guess, game, you could call it, of the round, but we've got one more after this. It's the Central Coast Mariners taking on Melbourne City. Game that's brought some entertaining results of late, but Central Coast really hitting their form. City's really starting to climb as well. Two teams that started off poorly. How do you find this one?
I mean, they are pretty much only separated. Yes, Adelaide squishes in the middle of them, but they're separated by a goal difference. Like, it should be another really, really good contest. And as you say, it has been for the last few editions. The Mariners at home, it's a Sunday 5 p.m. So I think most of the A-League fan base would expect a pretty decent turnout for that one. And I think Melbourne City will be expecting a tough contest. And obviously they're still going there as they've just had to build as well. They still come there with probably a little bit of the PTSD of what happened at the end of last season again, but I feel like the history of this fixture, City at Gosford, has always been a bit back and forth. It's one of those fixtures where you'd probably think maybe it would be more in the home team's favour or the away team's favour. If you understand what I mean, it feels like it should sway some way, but no, it's always been well contested, and Sunday's going to be no different. It's just about who I think can come out on top, if anyone. It'll probably be. I see City getting like a late goal, and I don't know whether that's for 1-0 and it's been locked at 0-0 the whole game, or maybe it's a 2-1 winner, or even a 3-2. I don't know if it would be that high scoring, but I see City just nipping this one in the bud for some reason. I've just had my crystal ball just under the table. Hang on, that looks crazy on the camera. I can see myself in the top. I'll go 1-0 City. I'll stick with that. I feel like a late goal, and it'll be tightly contested.
And final game of this match week. It's a kind of the double game week again. So we've got Newcastle Jets taking on the Brisbane Roar, a game that was only played in Unite round, and Brisbane picking up the win in that one. I think Newcastle will want revenge. I think they'll go out and win this one. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Newcastle. And then the last fixture that we're covering for this week, it's actually Tuesday next week. It's a Tuesday game. I think it's the first Tuesday game of the season. Jets playing the Roar. They played each other only a week ago, and they're playing each other again. Yeah. Jets are going to want revenge in this one, won't they?
Jets will indeed want revenge. That game, as brilliant as it was on the weekend, you do have to feel a bit sorry for Newcastle, and like I said before, the relief that I saw on Zach, Kaz, and Chad's face from the Brisbane setup after that game was definitely a look of right, yes, sweet, we've got the win, but it was definitely a look of how the fuck have we got away with that one as well. So yeah, it will definitely be one that Newcastle will be looking to. I feel like how is their home form? Because I want to say that it'll be difficult for Brisbane away, but I feel like McDonald Jones has been such an up and down place, at least lately. I mean, obviously with everything that's going on at the Jets at the moment, it probably would be hard to make that stadium a fortress. But I know that's probably Rob Stanton's aim as well. And if they can really intimidate Brisbane with the obviously with the home advantage, then, and I'm not saying off the pitch, I'm not saying even in the crowds, I'm just genuinely saying with the setting, with the travel, and I mean, yes, Tuesday night is probably gonna play its part, especially with with Newcastle playing Friday, Brisbane playing Thursday, another game in a quick turnaround. But yeah, it's really about how hostile sort of Newcastle can make it, like, okay, and make it known. Yeah, we do want revenge. We do want revenge on that Unite round game. So will they get it? I probably will say no, but I'm actually gonna say a draw for this one. I still don't reckon Brisbane could win it away. But yeah, Newcastle can at least bag a point off of them and say that's their revenge mission done and dusted. Again, watch it be a 7-0. No, I'll say a 2-2. I'll say there'll definitely be goals again. However scrappy or however gorgeous. I know there was a few scrappy ones on Sunday night, but yeah, definitely goals, and I'm going to say a draw. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. I'm going to stick with that.
All right, Jude, thanks for coming on the predictions. I know we were supposed to have you on last week. A bit of trouble on both of our ends last week.
Technical difficulties, mate. That's what we do when we've got these home setups, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. But where can people find you? I know you're producing the Football Friends podcast at the moment, but is there anything that you want to plug for yourself at the moment?
Oh, mate, there's not much, to be fair. I've had a bit of a reshuffle, really, over the last few months, just thinking about what I can add back to the table and the industry that's gonna keep on pushing us forward. Because obviously in the last couple of years it's been very vertical video based, and that stuff's always been so fun. But yeah, definitely want to see what I can bring that'll really sort of unite, no pun intended, with the recent weekend, but genuinely what'll bring more of the community together. So I think one of the big plans is going to be YouTube, but look, for all the news, there's only one place I really put it, is on my Instagram at that Jaydee geezer, which is the most topical username in the industry, I think. But well, the gag still runs true. But Yeah, that Jaydee Geese is where to find it on Insta.
Thanks again for Jude for coming on. I'll leave his links down in the description so you can go check him out if you haven't already. Thank you all for watching. Let me know how you think. I'll go in the comments down below. Thank you all for this massive support lately. It's been great to see. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll see you soon.